Capitalism is a scam. It is not the best system. It is just a rebranding of every old bullshit feudalism that has ever existed. It is just another way. It is just the modern way for a bunch of really greedy, evil, tiny people to steal from the people, right? There's a small group of people that always seeks to wrest power, to take money and wield it as a god of some sort, right? Whether it's gold, whatever the currency of the time is, there's some way they have of using it to control us. They have us chasing it because, but look whose face is on it, right? Whoever's face is on the money, that's your enemy. That's never your friend, okay? Because what we're talking about is a system where they own us from birth, and then we have to buy back our own life from them. Think about how messed up that is. Think about it, really, right? The idea that there is a wage that an hour of your life can cost. And guess what? In the United States of America, in the big 2026, an hour of your life is worth $7.25. I'm being silent for a reason. I want you to really think about how fucked up that is. $7.25. What can you, with the price of gas now, that's probably going to get you 1 gallon of gas. So you have to work for an entire hour for someone, making them obviously way more than $7.25, because look, if they weren't making more, right, they wouldn't hire you. They hire you for $7.25 and then they make an untold amount off of your labor. Surplus, right? Surplus value. That's yours. That's yours. You're being stolen from. Your life is being stolen from you by capitalism. It's just the truth. And we're born into a system already in play. We're born into a game. I always like to, when I talk about capitalism, I think about the Monopoly game. And if you know me, you know that I love games of all kinds. Video games, board games, card games, whatever it is, love them. Monopoly is there as a fucking warning. It was made that way. It's not supposed to be fun. It's actually in a game form, right? In a game form, an anti-capitalist, it's an anti-capitalist game, right? Because what it's there to show you is that eventually someone is going to end up with all the money. And for the rest of the people playing the game, it's just going to be a slow attrition into poverty, maybe jail, right? It's right there in the game. But we somehow didn't learn that lesson. We didn't get that it was satire. And a lot of the things about capitalism, now it gets us to aspire to things that are at the end of the day, just to other ways that capitalism controls us. Are you an artist? You've probably thought, I would love to win an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, or a Tony. Maybe the whole EGOT. Well, guess what? That's just capitalism. You're a scientist. Maybe you've thought, wow, I'd really love to win a Nobel Prize. That's just capitalism. In fact, it's feudalism. You go to a king. You go to a king to get, as the wizard said in our the Wizard and the Witch piece, you go to a king to get a chunk of gold for the Nobel Prize, right? And who gets to get the Nobel Prize is also a matter of who the king likes and doesn't like. We are owned. We are controlled. We are pitted against each other in a game of Monopoly that we cannot win. We simply cannot win. Because guess what? Not only are we playing a game of Monopoly, we're playing it like 500 turns in. And the other thing is, guess what? There's a whole other set of cards that you don't even get access to if you are black, brown, an immigrant, indigenous, a woman, LGBTQ, etc. Right? And those restrictions have always been there, but it's as capitalism is in decline and removes all of the, the cosmetic niceties that it offers, right? And remember, liberalism is inherently capitalist. Liberals are capitalists, right? So are conservatives. Liberals and conservatives, the Democratic and Republican Party, they're both capitalist, right? Through and through. And liberalism is always intended to be a middle, right? And not even a middle in between the far left and the far right, right? It's a middle in between, like, left-ish and far right. And they will always capitulate to the far right because why? Because of capitalism. At the end of the day, if it's all about money and not about humanity, you're always going to lean to the green, as they say. Look, I am not the kind of person who thinks you shouldn't participate because, again, if we're gamifying things, you play every piece on the board. Sure. But at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to actually get us to a better world, to a livable world, to literally saving ourselves as a human species, is the end of capitalism. And that requires what? Divestment from it. Building alternative systems. All of the stuff we have done in the House of Infinity, the stuff we do, the stuff that I talk about everywhere I appear, whether it is in my work with dogs, whether it is in my work with gardens, in my art, in my music, whatever it is, it's always about, at the end of the day, rethinking the lies we have been told and building alternative systems concurrent to these, right? Because as the train of capitalism, it's going off the tracks, okay? It's going off the tracks, babes. And what we're doing right now is we're literally building a train alongside it that people can jump off onto and we can head into a better future together, right? Or we stay on capitalism, keep trying to aspire to their false gods, to their money, to their dollars, to their billionaires, to their Met Galas, to their Oscars, to their Coachellas, right? We can keep aspiring to that, keep paying attention to it, keep feeding it, right? And we all die. And that's not hyperbole. Because look at, friends, it is really difficult to not get heavy about just how much fucking danger we're in. Because of capitalism. I mean, also because of misogyny, because of all the other things we're going to talk about in the coming weeks. We have 11 more weeks of the 12 values. We're going to talk about each of them. But because of capitalism, our world is being driven off the cliff because we treat... A great saying about the whole thing is that to a capitalist, a forest has no value until you've cut down the trees and they know how many trees there are and whether they can use them for firewood or to make paper or whatever else. Or what else they could build on the land after all the trees are gone, after all the forest is gone. But a forest is not just a bunch of trees. It's a living, breathing part of the planet that we need. The Amazon forest has been called the lungs of the planet. And we're cutting those down. We're cutting out our own lungs for short-term gains because capitalists said, hey, don't blame me. I'm just a player in the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Guess what? I hate the players. You should too. And yeah, hate the game too. But what we have to do is divest. We have to. We simply have to. And that requires, guess what? That requires you changing the way that you live and do things every single day henceforth. I don't know that we will be successful, but I know that we are supported by the planets, the stars, the gods themselves, by the times. We're supported by each other. I want to thank you all for being here with us for this episode of the Focused on Infinity Hour, more or less. And I want to thank everyone that is a part of this show. I want you to remember, we haven't, since we've changed our production flow, we haven't been posting people's pay links, but remember that this show is a labor of love and we want you to directly, financially support, if you can, anyone that you like that is on this show, right? And that includes yours truly. But Really, find square symbols online, find worm online, find Mistrix online, find Alice online, book a reading with Alice, book a reading, a tarot reading with myself, right? Just support people, right? Because the other thing is that people are going to continue to do and make things because art belongs to us. Innovation belongs to us. All the things we do belong to us. And so us bringing them directly to each other and supporting each other directly, that's capitalism. Commerce and capitalism are not the same thing. People are always going to want to make things and share their talents and do things, right? I want to thank you so much for continuing to follow along with me wherever I appear and with this show in specific. And I want you to help us grow the show by continuing to also, if you have something you'd like to share, if you are a musician, if you anything that you have to share, trust me, we can find a way to work it into the show. And I think it would be actually fun. And I've got some big ideas. We have some big ideas about how to make the show even more interesting and interactive in the future. And we're going to do them because it is so much fun to get to be able to have a show where I share art and music as well as just the real of what's going on in our world. And I'm so glad that you appreciate it as well. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week.